What's up, guys? It's Toad back with you for Sunday, May 11th. Not off to a great start, man. It's NBA and NHL playoffs continue to do pretty well for me, or really well, actually, I will say. And Major League Baseball has been pretty bad, and I apologize. I don't think my Major League Baseball plays are really that far off. Yesterday, 0-4 in MLB, but I think it could have easily been 3-1 with some slight differences. Of course, NBA got there with the Boston Celtics. That was an easy win, one of the easiest betting wins that I've had in quite a while. And the double whammy, because it was, or maybe double whammy is not the greatest way to put it, because it was a good thing and not a bad thing, but because it's the team that I root for, it was doubly pleasurable, double your pleasure, double your fun, getting that one right. And then, of course, I got Carolina right in hockey, really easy, as they won 4-0. So those were pretty easy. But then baseball became a problem, man. The New York Yankees, unfortunately, I guess, laying too much of a price on that, but they had a 6-4 lead going into the bottom of the seventh, and then their bullpen got absolutely torched again. Yankees bullpen, man, I mean, they got some issues in the bullpen, even though their bullpen was rolling along pretty well for a while, and they had one of the better bullpen ERAs, but not anymore. And I think they gave up 7 runs in 2 innings in the 7th and 8th and wound up losing the game 11-7 after they were up 6-4 in the 7th. Crazy. The Cleveland game looked like a blowout loss, 7-1, but that really wasn't, as they were losing 1-0. The handicap on the starting pitching didn't quite go as planned. Suarez did pitch well, and he basically battled Bibby. And I got the Bibby side of it pretty much right. He had a good game, but then Cleveland's bullpen just totally imploded, which is not something I necessarily would have expected there. That was very unfortunate there. So that game wound up looking like a blowout loss. It was actually closer than you would think. Texas and Detroit didn't get there. I mean, Texas just unloaded, man, which is not something that you expect. Texas's offense has been really struggling this year. And against Flaherty, they didn't have good numbers, which I pointed out yesterday. It's why I had the under there. So that sucked. And then Red Sox, Kansas City. I mean, I'm happy with the Red Sox winning because they're my team still, unfortunately. But the Red Sox, that game was 1-1, I think, going into the top of the 5th. So I'm like, all right, this first 5 under is going to hit. No, the Red Sox scored 3 runs in the top of the 5th off of Cole Reagans, even though he's a really good pitcher. He's good against the Red Sox. Against the Red Sox. And he just, I guess, got too fatigued right there in the top of the 5th. So what looked like it was almost going to be a sure win on that one wound up being a loss. So that is just great. We'll move on to today, as we always have to do here. Not having the greatest year, man, unfortunately. Mostly because of March. March was probably the worst month I've ever had, and it is tough to recover from that. So right now I'm sitting slightly below the break-even point on the year just because of that, and because May has not been a winning month so far. But let's look at today's card. We got 2 NBA plays. The first game up is actually in the afternoon. OKC and Denver. And I'm going to zigzag on this one. I am going to lay the points with Oklahoma City because they are the better team here. We know that they play well off of a loss, which they already did in game 2. Granted, that was at home, but that was a blowout win for them. And I'm not saying they're going to blow out Denver here on Denver's own floor, but I think this is a spot where you got to look for the zigzag. And it's because I think there's going to be some regression here. As you look at this game, Denver won the game by 9. Yeah, I liked Denver to cover in this game, but it was a little bit misleading, man. As you can see here, Oklahoma City only scored 2 points in overtime. They only scored 19 in the 4th quarter. So that's kind of unlike them, really. If you look at the overall stats for the game, Oklahoma City was winning this game throughout the first half. They were winning really the majority of the game and then just really fell apart late. But look at Oklahoma City's shooting in this game. 38.5% from the field and 25.7 3-point range. I mean, what are they? The Boston Celtics? So I don't think that's going to happen again, man. And meanwhile, Denver shot 40% from 3, and they had way more 3-pointers made. Oklahoma City, this is all kind of outlier stuff, man. Oklahoma City hit 9 threes, and Denver hit 16 threes. So they were, what is that? Plus 21 from 3-point range. Again, I don't think that's going to happen again. That was the biggest outlier in the game, and I highly doubt that Oklahoma City is going to shoot that poorly. Again, Denver, really not a great defensive team. And Denver probably is not going to reach 40% from three again. So I think we are in line for some regression here. I like Oklahoma City to bounce back and get this done. They might have been affected by the elevation shift a little bit, but now that they've played a game in this venue, they're kind of used to it now. They've already played in this venue this season, of course, but I think having adjusted a little bit to the elevation again they're now adjusted to it. I think this is going to be a much better game for Oklahoma City. So I think they're going to get the job done in this one. They're the better team in the series. I don't think they're going to lose the series. So I am going to go with Oklahoma City in what I think is a pretty good bounce back spot, good zigzag spot. And looking at the market for it here, they are actually up to 7 now with 63%, taking 71% of the cash coming in on them. So you do have to get on this. I would not lay more than 6.5 on this if possible, or you might have to start looking money line or something like that or Oklahoma City's team total over. I don't mind that either because I expect that they're going to bounce back and shoot a lot better in this game. So I don't mind that either. Even though it does look like the cash discrepancy is kind of on the actually the cash discrepancy is on the over, actually, with more tickets on the under than cash, which is kind of insane with a pretty high total of 227.5. But so that's kind of indicating that maybe the over is going to be a way to look in this game, which a lot of times it is when teams only have one day off. The defense tends to be a little bit more lackluster. So I don't hate the over in this game either, but obviously, I think the way to play this is the Thunder side. That's the way that I would do it. 7, as I was about to say, is, of course, a key number in basketball because it's the 3-possession threshold where teams stop intentionally fouling. So you want to get on the correct side of 7 if you can. I think there are probably still 6.5s out there on the Thunder, as there were still 6s and 6.5s when I looked a little while ago. So that is the play there. Cavs and Pacers, of course, we know the Cavs lost both games at home. They won, and I was on them in game 3 as they got basically all their players back. I think Garland came back, which is why the line had moved up. And that is where it is here. So I expect all these guys are going to be playing in this game. Garland, Mobley, and Hunter, I think, came back as well. So the Cavs up from 5 to 5.5 with juice here. Some line movement on the Cavs. They are public, though, because the public, they're very recency biased, man. And now they see, the Cavs have all their players back. They just destroyed the Pacers in the last game. So that's going to have the public looking for the Cavs again here. Yes, they are the better team. Yes, I said before game 3 that I thought they might not win the series anymore. Maybe I still feel that way, but this game is really, really, this is a difficult game to handicap, man, to be honest. I mean, we're talking about this game being at Indianapolis. It's at Indiana. Cavs are the better team. Yes, they are. And some part of me still thinks they're going to get through the series because they are the better team. But I think this is a spot for the Pacers, man, where the Pacers got embarrassed. And unfortunately, I'm going to say the same thing about the Celtics-Knicks series tomorrow. Unfortunately, I think the zigzag spot is toward the Pacers here because they got blown out on their own floor. So they are going to be the team with the adjustments to make in this game. So I think slight lean to grabbing the points with the Pacers in this one. And hey, I'm not going to be that upset if the Cavs wind up losing the series. All right. I won't be losing any sleep over that. But the Cavs are public because of that. So I do think the zigzag might be in effect towards the Pacers here, but I still don't quite want to do it because the Cavs are the much better team. And when they're at full strength, at least, this total very high as well, down from 231.5 to 230.5, juice to the over. Looks like less of the cash is on the under than the amount of tickets, just like the other games. So an over might be worth a look at both of these games as we have game 4. A lot of times the over is kind of the way to look with teams having just played 2 days ago. Defense tends to lapse a little bit. I mean, you're talking about the Pacers and they don't really even play defense. So that's the way that we look in that game there. I mean, I'll give them a little more credit. They played better defense in the second half of the season than they were earlier, but they're not one of the stronger defensive teams. Let's just put it that way. Let's go to hockey. We got 2 hockey games today, Winnipeg and Dallas. This is shifting to Dallas, and I'm going to go against where we see the market moving here. I actually am going to be on Dallas here. I don't know what the price is going to be on Dallas here. It looks like it's somewhere around the minus 130 range. So I'm going to take the Dallas Stars somewhere around a minus 130. The books, if you look at the books future odds, they have Dallas likely to win this series. Their odds to win the whole thing are way, way better than Winnipeg's, which, of course, you could say two things about that. You could say that, well, that means Winnipeg is undervalued in the future market as far as they probably have a better chance to win the whole thing than what the odds makers are giving them. I mean, yes, I agree with that, but I do think Dallas is the better team. They've been lined as the better team in the series. I don't really understand how you have 76% of tickets on Dallas and only 50% of the cash when Winnipeg won game 2 in a 4-0 shutout, and Winnipeg had the best record in the NHL. So I highly doubt that Dallas is actually the public team here. But I like Dallas, man. The series is 1-1. Shifting back to Dallas. Dallas stole game 1, and I'm 2-0 betting this series. I was on Dallas in game 1 because I thought they had the experience. They were the better team. I liked it in game 1. I probably got a little bit lucky. I think the market moved against me a little bit. I went with Winnipeg in game 2 because Winnipeg actually was the better team statistically in game 1. But game 2 was actually a lot closer than the final score looked, man. And now that Winnipeg has to go down to Dallas, no, I don't want the inspector up. Or sorry, that was ad block. I guess one of my ad blockers, whatever it was. All right, Winnipeg. Yeah, they won 4-0. I won on this game, but there was an empty net goal in the game. Dallas outpossessed them. They outface off them. Winnipeg had more shots slightly, but Dallas was also the more physical team. Dallas got caught with more penalty minutes in the game, which does tend to happen when you're the more physical team. And also the Jets are very, very good at home. There were 30 wins, 7 losses, and 4 overtime losses at home. But now we're shifting series, man, where things even out quite a bit. Dallas has been quite good at home, 28-10-3. Jets a little bit more beatable on the road for sure, 26-15-0. Somehow they have no overtime losses on the road. But I think Dallas is going to have the advantage here again because they have the experience, more experienced team playing at home. Winnipeg's not used to playing in Dallas. So I like Dallas here to bounce back from that, man. A lot of times you do want to look towards a team that just got shut out in the previous game to play a much better game. Like I said, statistically, the game wasn't as much of an imbalanced game as it looked, although I won the bet on it. So I'm going to continue to ride this series, man. Ride the zigzag. I'm going to be on Dallas. And again, I think the market is going to shift here. I really don't understand why it looks like there's a reverse line movement on a public Dallas team. That actually really surprises me. And again, the odds makers have lined Dallas as the much more likely team to win the entire thing than Winnipeg, which I think has something to do with experience. It has something to do with Dallas having stolen one of the road games of the series. And yes, I think there's no real value on playing Dallas to win the whole thing, but the odds makers are still also indicating, as I was about to say before, that that does still mean that Dallas is more likely to win this series than Winnipeg is, even though they are the road team in the series, but they have already stolen home advantage for now, at least. So I'm going to go with Dallas there to bounce back into zigzag there. Toronto and Florida in the later game today. I would agree with Florida again here. 71% of tickets, 87% of the cash coming in on Florida. I like Florida. I think they're the better team. Yes, they lost both games in Toronto. They bounced back and they won. And I know it was a close game, but I think we have not seen Florida's best game yet, obviously, in the series. They were able to escape and win that game. They're the team with the pedigree. They're the team with the experience. I still like them as the more balanced teams. Toronto really, I think, is too offensively heavy and offensive to me, really, because they're Canadian. So I would look Florida. They're down from -220 to -185. If you're going to play this one, I would do the same thing that I did in game 3. I'm not going to do this one because it's not really a heavy zigzag spot like that other one was, but I would play Florida to win it in regulation again, which I know I lost that bet, but Florida did win the game. They easily could have won it in regulation. I mean, they were up going into the third period and they never scored in the third period. Even though they were down early in the game, Toronto jumped on them early, but Florida, they're overcoming a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? They're overcoming a lot of adversity here. So Florida, I still think they're the team to beat here, man. So I think Florida would be the way to look in that game. Let's go over to Major League Baseball where, let's get through it. Baseball starts early, actually. We got one game up at 11 because I think it's Mother's Day, right? So we do have 11? 11:35 a.m. It says Cubs and Mets here, but I'm looking here and it says it's at 12:05. I don't even know which one it is, but maybe it's a Mother's Day matinee. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, all the MILFs out there. Cubs and Mets. Let's talk about this game. Matthew Boyd pitching for the Cubs. His whip is pretty bad, 1.35. So the fact that he has a 2.75 ERA is pretty misleading. Like his whip is so high that it probably indicates that his ERA should be higher than that. But again, he has limited the damage. He has not had any really bad game, allowing no more than 3 earned runs in any start. Getting a nice amount of strikeouts in there as well. Strikeout rate, not bad. Hit rate really isn't that bad either. So he's not terrible, even though he is walking too many guys. Against the Mets, only 4 of them have seen him before. And by the way, player props, Lindor is 12 for 33 off him with 2 home runs and 3 walks. So hits plus runs plus RBIs on Lindor over might be a way to look. But in 48 at-bats for Boyd, the Mets have a 354 average off him, 1,103 whip, 5-5 strikeout walk ratio. So he has not done well against the Mets. But if you're going to go to the Mets, do you trust Griffin Canning, who has a similar thing going on with his stats with a bad 1.39 whip, yet a 2.5 ERA? Again, I don't understand how Canning is doing this. I don't think he's a good pitcher. He hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any start except one. Since the start of April, he's allowed more than 1 earned run in only 1 start, which is just insane to me. He's consistently going like 5 innings, which is okay, putting men on base and escaping. But again, you can't keep escaping like this, man, and pulling this Houdini act. I don't think Canning is that good. I know that the Mets like kind of try to fix him and work with his mechanics, but his whip is kind of indicating that he's still really, really struggling here. Against the Cubs, he does have good numbers, though, in 50 at-bats, 220 average, somewhat high, 736 OPS, though, so not all the numbers are good. 8-7 strikeout walk ratio is not good. So both pitchers are putting too many men on base. So, I mean, I almost say I want to lean towards an over in this game, but the market is completely disagreeing with that. Down from 8.5 juice to the over to a straight 8. 59% of tickets on the over. Public will be on the over in any Cubs-Mets game, really. 93% of the cash coming in on the under. So I'm going to stay away from that whole thing, man. And the money is moving towards the Cubs as well, with the Mets down from minus 130 to minus 116. 79% of tickets on them, but 54% of the cash coming in on the Cubs. So the professional money is going against what the public thinks here. Professional money does not trust Griffin Canning. Neither do I, but I don't trust either starter here. So staying away from that game. I believe the Mets did win yesterday, right? Or wait, no, the Cubs won yesterday. What am I saying? The Mets won the first game. The Cubs won the second game. So it's a big game. It's a big series. Both teams should be focused. Atlanta is at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh actually playing with a little bit of fire, kind of, after they fired their manager. They won a game, and then yesterday they were fired up. Their new manager got thrown out of the game, trying to fire his team up. So Pittsburgh trying to get emotionally invested here, man. But in this game, it's not going to be easy because they got to face Chris Sale. Although he hasn't been pitching well this year, 1.36 whip, pretty bad, 4.07 ERA, but he is starting to turn it around. His last couple of starts, he's had 10 strikeouts in each of them. So he is turning it on. I think he's returned to form. So I think we are seeing the Chris Sale that we know. He has allowed too many hits over the course of the season, but his strikeout rate is ridiculously high. Against Pittsburgh, very good numbers in small sample size of 28, but he's got a 179 average against them, 421 OPS, so very Sale-like numbers. And he's up against Mlodzinski, who has a 6.16 ERA and 1.66 whip, which is not good if you haven't heard. And against the Braves in a small 20 at-bat sample size, 350 average, 985 OPS, and 3.3 strikeout walk ratio. So the Braves, needless to say, have a big pitching edge in this game, but you're laying a massive price if you like the Braves. Up from minus 225, or down from minus 225 to minus 210, excuse me. 94% of tickets, 98% of the cash. Braves, very public. Even though they have a huge mismatch in the starting pitching matchup here, I really don't think that you can lay a price like this with the Braves. So I'm just not touching the game at all. I do expect the Braves to win. I mean, they're still a team that I think people have a perception about them that is still wrong. I think because they started off the season so bad, the Braves are indeed better than what that perception is, but I can't do it. Washington's trying to avoid a sweep at the hands of St. Louis here. St. Louis might take their foot off the gas a little bit here because they've played really well in the series. And again, you got to dive into the box scores and see what the bullpen situation is, but I will talk about those when I talk about the actual plays that I have. St. Louis has won 7 games in a row as well, so they're on a roll right now, but They got a pretty big series against Philadelphia, who's certainly a competitive team in the National League. They might be looking ahead to that game after they already won the series against Washington. Washington sucks. It's possible that St. Louis kind of takes their foot off the gas a little bit coming into this game. And I don't think they have the advantage of the starting pitching matchup as they got Miles Mikolas going with a 1.35 whip and 4.76 ERA. Not good. His last outing, he had more walks and strikeouts against Pittsburgh with 3 walks and 1 strikeout. Kind of got away with it and kept his team in the game, only allowing 3 earned runs, but he's not been good. An 18-12 strikeout walk ratio is pretty bad. I mean, he's not going to hit that hard, but he's walking too many guys. He's not a dominant pitcher. He doesn't strike guys out. He kind of just comes in, throws junk. But he does have pretty good numbers against Washington in his career. In 81 at-bats, this offense hasn't really done that well against them. 235 average, 732 OPS is a little bit high. Josh Bell specifically has hit him fairly well in a lot of at-bats, 9 for 32, 2 home runs, 5 walks. So again, maybe a player prop up potential there with that one. So I don't think I can quite come in and fade St. Louis here because I don't think that the starting pitching edge for Washington is as big as it looks based on what the pitchers have done this season. And I hate Washington's bullpen, so I just don't think I can do it. I mean, they have the worst bullpen in baseball, which doesn't seem like it's going to change anytime soon as they're so far and away the worst bullpen ERA-wise. It's ridiculous. So I just don't think I could quite do it, even though I usually would look and say, oh my God, we have like the better pitcher going for Washington here. They're trying to avoid the sweep. It's a look ahead spot for St. Louis. So I would be looking towards Washington. If you like Mackenzie Gore, and I do, 1.15 whip, 3.33 ERA, he is better than Mikolas, but I just think the matchup numbers kind of tell a different story here. But if you do like that, Washington in the first 5 innings might be a way to look, but you are actually paying a huge price for Washington for what this game is, up from minus 130 to minus 148, which again, though, if you see Washington laying a price like this, there's no way the public is going to lay this price with Washington. They're going to think there's value on St. Louis, which is why these percentages don't make any sense to me. There's no way 65% of the tickets are coming in on a Washington team against a St. Louis team that has a better record and has won 7 games in a row. There's no way that the public is laying a favorite price on Washington like that. But it does say 65% of tickets, only 54% of the cash on Washington. I don't buy that. I would still lean to Washington because, again, the money line is like very misleading. Like how could Washington possibly be favored by this much? Just because Gore has pitched so much better than Mikolas has this season. Back to Gore's numbers, really, really good stuff. Extremely high strikeout rate was 68 in 46 innings, fewer than 1 hit per inning. Strikeout walk ratio is good just because the strikeout number is so high. He is one of the better pitchers in baseball, but his numbers against St. Louis are very bad in 41 at-bats. 463 average and 1,183 OPS. That is just not something I can put my money on. Contreras is 6 for 10 off him with 2 doubles and a walk. I mean, so player prop potential there as well. Yes, Gore. I mean, a lot of these numbers were from Gore when Gore was not as good. So yes, Gore is really rounding it to something this year and is much, much better this year than he has been previously in his career. But when I see numbers like that, I still can't trust it as far as the matchup is concerned. Don't trust Washington's bullpen, so I might slightly lean to Washington. If I was going to play it, I'd probably take the bullpens out and play Washington in the first 5 innings, but you're going to have to lay a big money line price with it. So I would probably actually look to the run line and play Washington to be ahead by like 1 run or, play them minus a half run in the first 5 innings or something, but I just can't get there with this game. I just can't do it. Where I am going to go is where I think there's some value on playing Milwaukee as an underdog here. So I actually like this one against Tampa Bay. Milwaukee's trying to avoid a sweep here. Tampa Bay has won each game only by 1 run, though, in each game. And they do have a divisional game up next against Toronto, who is 1 game ahead of them. So they might actually consider that to be a bigger series than this series, which they've already won. And I'm going to take the bullpens out of the equation here because Milwaukee's bullpen is awful. So I don't want anything to do with Milwaukee's bullpen here. And they used a ton of it yesterday. Rays only used 3 relief pitchers. Milwaukee used 6. So that's a no-go. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to bring the bullpens into this one. I'm going with the starting pitching matchup. You can get Milwaukee in the first 5 innings at a nice plus price here, underdog price. So that means like if the game is tied after 5 innings, it'll be a push. But I think there's a decent chance Milwaukee will have the lead here, as they got Chad Patrick on the mound. He is pitching like a Chad, 1.18 whip, 3.08 ERA. He's a rookie this season, I believe, and his numbers are pretty good. Decent strikeout rate, 32 and 38 innings is fine. Only 33 hits allowed. That's not bad either. Fewer than one per inning. 12 walks, not terrible compared to the amount of strikeouts. He's moving along, pitching well. Hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start. And yes, those were his 2 most recent starts, but he went deeper into those games than he had in most of his other starts. 3 of his last 4 starts, though, he's gone at least 5 2/3, allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all of them. And he has a 19 to 3 strikeout walk ratio over those 4 starts, excuse me. So that shows me that he is definitely commanding his pitches right now, man. He's got a really good strikeout walk ratio in those starts. Yes, he's been worse on the road, which worries me a little bit, but one of those games at Yankee Stadium, one of those games at Chase Field. I mean, those are 2 really good offenses. So I'm not as worried about that. Tampa is a step down in class from facing this offense. And Tampa's never seen him before. So again, like I said, when you have a starting pitcher who's never been seen before, that's a little bit of an edge to them if they're a good pitcher. And I think he will have the edge here. Rasmussen is pitching for Tampa, but he's starting to kind of fade a little bit. Good numbers on the year for sure. A 3.09 ERA, 1.06 whip, 32 to 9 strikeout walk ratio, well below 1 hit per inning. That's all good, but in his last 3 starts, he's gone 5 innings or fewer in all 3. Granted that one was at Arizona and one was against Philly, and they both can hit, but still hasn't gone as deep into those games. He's been starting to fade a little bit, allowing 4, 3, and 3 earned runs in those shortened starts there. He's not going deep pitch count wise into these games, man. So he was being more efficient with his pitches early on, but the team just doesn't like unleash him. They usually pull him when he's around like the 80 pitch mark. Seems to be the consistent point where they pull him out of games, and he's usually just around 5 innings. So I think we are, it doesn't matter for this handicap because I'm taking the bullpens out of the equation, but I think that Rasmussen is not quite as good as he looks. I think he's starting to fade a little bit, and Milwaukee has at least seen him a little bit, only 6 at bats, but at least that's something. 333 average off him and 762 OPS. So there is more familiarity there. I like Patrick a little bit better. Rasmussen has more of a career behind him, and we kind of know what we're going to get out of him. I think we're getting a nice plus price on Milwaukee in this game. So that's where I'm going. But again, first 5 innings, don't want to deal with Milwaukee's atrocious bullpen. Tampa is down from minus 150 to minus 146, 62% of tickets and cash on Milwaukee. So I don't know where the cash percentage is going to wind up, but I'll be on Milwaukee in the first 5 innings in that one. Trying to avoid the sweep as well. Texas at Detroit, I'm going to be on this one too. I'm going to go full game on this one and take Texas plus 100 on the money line here. You can get them right there at even money. So I think that's a good price for this one, man. I like the starting pitching matchup for Texas here. It looks like a good starting pitching matchup both ways. So I think, like, looking at these starting pitchers and what they've done recently and what they've done this year, it looks like it's going to be kind of an under type of game. But I actually think that Texas has the advantage in this game, which I'll explain in a second. Texas, I know they did win yesterday as well in a blowout 10-3. So yes, in a way, Detroit's going to want to bounce back from that. But Detroit did use more of their bullpen because Flaherty had to get taken out pretty early in the game. So they used one additional relief pitcher. So I think Texas actually, their bullpen might have the slight edge in this game because of that. I think both bullpens are actually pretty decent. Yes, Detroit has the better offense, but when we look at the starting pitching matchup, I think it becomes clear what we want to do here with Eovaldi no longer on the Boston Red Sox, a 2.03 ERA, 0.8 whip. He is just pitching really well. And speaking of the Red Sox, he just dominated them. 6 innings, 5 hits allowed, 1 earned run, 7-1 strikeout walk ratio. His numbers are just insane throughout the course of the entire season. He has a 53-4 strikeout walk ratio and only 35 hits allowed, 48 2/3. The strikeout walk ratio is one of the best in baseball. That's unbelievable. And that combined with the fact that he's allowing very few hits, Eovaldi, shockingly, one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball right now. And he's in good form right now as well over his last few starts. So he's doing really well. And against Detroit, He's done really well against them in 73 at bats. He's held them to an extremely low 219 average and 520 OPS. So I definitely trust the Evaldi in this one. And then if we look at Reese Olson, I think there are some more questions with him. 1.22 whip, 3.03 ERA. That's all pretty good, but he's walking way more guys. Last couple of games, he went 5 2/3, allowed 3 earned runs and no earned runs, both in road games, one against a pretty weak hitting Anaheim lineup. But he also had a 15-6 strikeout walk ratio. It was a little bit dicey, which is a little bit dicey, I should say. He's not allowing a lot of hits, but he is walking a decent amount of guys. Good strikeout rate, 40 and 38 2/3. 17 walks allowed is a bit high. 30 hits allowed is not bad at all. And only 1 home run allowed, not bad at all. But Olson does have his struggles. He walks too many guys, and against Texas, even though he hasn't even walked anybody on Texas, in 23 at-bats, Texas, even though their offense isn't even that good, they've actually hit him well. 348 career average, 739 OPS. So I actually like Evaldi better in this game. So I'm going to go with Texas in this game. 71% of tickets are coming in on Detroit because, of course, Detroit, they have one of the best records in baseball, and I know we're fading probably the best home record in baseball, 14-4. I know it's very difficult to fade that. Public is going to be all over Detroit, but Detroit can't continue having a record that's this dominant, man. I mean, this is baseball. You're talking about most games being a little bit of a toss-up at best. So I think Detroit is in line for some regression, even though they are playing really, really well. Texas, I think at some point their offense is going to get better. And I think the matchup is good for this. 55% of the cash coming in on Texas, despite the 71% of the tickets on Detroit. So I think this is a big, strong market move with the cash discrepancy being way on the side of Texas. Reverse line movement against a public Tigers team down from -120 to -109. We'll take the Texas Rangers in that game. Don't worry, I have some totals as well, even though my totals have been terrible. Red Sox against Kansas City. You got Giolito going. He's coming off a horrific start. He's only made 2 starts this year so far, but he just got blasted by that aforementioned Texas team. So they hit well in that game. They hit him for 6 runs, 10 hits in 3 2/3. So he is struggling. He struggled in that game. And it might not get easier for him because Kansas City has actually done well against him. 117 at bats. Giolito was actually in their division because he used to be on the White Sox. So Kansas City, very familiar with him, and they've hit 291 off him and a 918 OPS, despite having a 30-5 strikeout walk ratio. They've just wrecked this guy, and a lot of his Salvador Perez, even though he is old now. So if you want to look for player props, Perez is 16 for 37 off him, lifetime with 4 doubles and 5 home runs, which is crazy. So I would not want to have my money on Giolito here. Seth Lugo is pitching well again this year. 1.11 whip, 2.84 ERA as he's continuing to do it, even at his age. Pitching pretty well. He's faced mostly weak lineups this season so far, though. The one strongest lineup that he faced, the Yankees, actually hit him pretty well. Red Sox have a decent lineup, and against Lugo, the Red Sox have done okay in 53 at-bats, 283 average, 809 OPS, so I would probably be looking towards the over. That would be my lean in this game. I'm not going to play it. It's gone down a little bit from 8.5 juice to the over to now a little bit less juice. 82% of tickets and only 70% of the cash on the over. But I think the over, based on the pitchers' numbers against the opposing lineups, makes sense in this game. Even though Kansas City has not been able to hit, they are familiar with Giolito, so they might actually be able to score some runs in this game. Kansas City is also public, though, and the line has dropped significantly on them. So significant movement coming towards Boston, but there's no way that I can play Giolito there. Kansas City down from -135 to -112. 85% of tickets and only 79% of the cash there. Cincinnati and Houston. Cincinnati has a rookie, Chase Petty, pitching. It sounds like he should be car racing. He should be in NASCAR, and he did not have a good start in his first game. He's got a 34.71 ERA, man, and a 3.86 whip. Worst pitcher in baseball. No, I mean, there's no way that his numbers can continue to be that bad, but he had a horrific major league debut, giving up 9 earned runs and 2 1/3 against St. Louis. Not good, but I expect him to start doing a little bit better. There could have been some nerves there. He's a guy with some decent stuff. And of course, Houston has never seen him before. So Petty definitely is a wild card here. He could pitch really well or he could suck. I mean, we have no idea, which is why I'm not going to touch this game. Ronel Blanco, probably because he can't use the pine tar anymore, is not pitching anywhere near as well as he did last year. 4.98 ERA, 1.34 whip, pretty bad. Putting way too many men on base. A lot of it is the walks, way too many walks. He's not been hittable. He's not allowing that many hits, fewer than one per inning. Strikeout rate decent as well, but a high fly ball rate too, or a low ground ball rate, I should say. So he's not getting guys to ground out, which isn't a good sign either. The walk number's way too high. So I don't trust Blanco, even though he is at least kind of consistent, where he doesn't get like totally bombed usually, except for that game against Minnesota. Other than that, he has allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every start, and he does have good numbers against the Reds in a small 19 at-bat sample size, but he's held him to a 211 average and 618 OPS. So could be kind of a sneaky under look in this one. Might be the way that I would lean in this game with a pitcher who's totally unknown, who has terrible numbers based on one start up against a guy who has numbers that are probably worse than he actually is. So I think I would lean under here. It's gone up a little bit from 8 juice to the over to 8.5 juice to the under. 82% of tickets and only 80% of the cash on the over, though. So the public seems to like the over here. And I disagree with that. I mean, yesterday's game was 13-9, which is insane. Lance McCullers, terrible upon his return. And apparently the fans were threatening death upon his family, which that's not okay, man. I mean, obviously, I deal in the area of free speech. I deal in the arena of comedy. I don't care what you say, but that's some bullshit there, man. I mean, he's a pitcher on your team. I think he helped Houston win at least one championship too. And you're going to do that to the guy because he has a bad start. I mean, I'm okay with heckling the guy. I'm okay with booing him. I'm okay with fuck you. Like, I've done that. Like, like you should be off the team, like that type of shit. That's all fine. But I think this is going too far, man. So that's some bullshit. He had a really bad start, but again, after that high-scoring game yesterday, I would lean to the under. But again, one of the problems I do have with that is that yesterday both starting pitchers, both pitching staffs got lit up. So both pitching staffs use a ton of relief pitchers. So I think if you're going to play an under in that one, I would actually probably go first 5 innings under in that game. Miami and the White Sox. I don't even know what to say about this game. Alcantara is pitching for Miami, and he's just never been able to return to the form that he had before he had Tommy John surgery or whatever it was. Very unfortunate. He's just been awful this year. 8.42 ERA, 1.61 whip. And I keep thinking he's got that like stuff in him, man, like that is going to return at some point because he was really, really good, like Cy Young candidate worthy almost back before he had that injury. And he just has not been able to come back from it, which is just awful. I feel bad for him because I like him as a pitcher. Against the White Sox, he has good career numbers in a small 17 at-bat sample size. Only 4 of them have seen him before. 176 average. 793 OPS is a little bit high because he's allowed 2 home runs to them. But I don't know if we could trust like a small sample size and numbers that are from a while ago, like before he was what he is now. In this current form, I just don't think you can trust Alcantara. Burke is not trustworthy either for the White Sox. He's a young guy, rookie season, I think, this year. 4.35 ERA, 1.32 whip. I mean, he's serviceable, I guess. He actually has pitched decently over the last couple of starts, except that he's still had too many walks, but he's really not been very hittable, allowing very few hits. But the walk number's got to go down, and he doesn't have strikeout stuff. So he's really not out there like fooling hitters. He's just kind of throwing junk, and he's allowing way too many fly balls, which is not a good sign either. So, I mean, I might even say that maybe I could see this game going over the total, but the money seems to disagree with that as it's flipped from 8 juice to the over to 8 juice to the under. 77% of tickets, only 64% of the cash on the over. So I'm not going to go that way either. And the money line, the money is coming in on the Miami side, thinking that maybe Alcantara still has that something in him and that something is going to turn around here, but I'm just not going to get involved in it. Andrew, what's up, man? Thank you, sir. That's right. Kanye, I mean, or Ye now, I mean, the people that surround him that are in his orbit all break the internet, man. Some of them do it by having a ridiculous ass, and some of them do it by being a ridiculous ass, and that's what I did. I'm basically the Kim Kardashian of ukulele players, man, by breaking the internet. Thanks for hanging out, Andrew, even though you don't like the sports talk. San Francisco, Minnesota. I'm kind of pissed I did not play the under yesterday. That was a game that I mentioned yesterday. I said, oh man, you got Logan Webb against who was it for Joe Ryan, right? It was a very good starting pitching matchup. Looked like a pitching duel, but I was hesitant about their matchup numbers. But that was a stone cold under in that game, man. It was a 2-1 final. I think the Twins won the game, but man, that was I was right about leaning to the under in that one. Unfortunately, I did not make it a play because that was an easy under in that one. I'm going to go back to the well, and I'm going to go under this time as the bullpens did get pretty much saved yesterday for the most part, especially the Giants bullpen. They only used one relief pitcher for one inning after Webb went 7 innings. Webb is a grinder, man. He stays out there longer than any pitcher, as I mentioned yesterday as well. So that's good. Plus, San Francisco has one of the better bullpens in baseball. And Minnesota, I mean, their offense isn't really that good. And then Minnesota, on the other hand, I think might get their starter to go deep into this game. So even though San Francisco with Roop, I think might go not as deep into this game as Lopez might from Minnesota, because Lopez is definitely a really good pitcher. I think the fact that San Francisco's bullpen is pretty well rested, and they're a very good bullpen, and Minnesota not that great offensively, I think it kind of balance all of this out here into this nice, amalgamation where we get an under here. Landon Roop, I mean, he's been a really mixed bag. I mean, these numbers I understand are not good. 1.54 whip, 4.89 ERA. That's terrible, but he started out the season pretty good. Kind of fell into some bad times, and now I think he might be returning to form a little bit here as he just went to Wrigley Field, and he actually held the Cubs to 2 earned runs in 5 innings, which, I mean, that's pretty good, man. And 4 strikeouts, no walks. So I think that's all pretty good. A 39-14 strikeout walk ratio on the season is not bad either. He's allowing too many hits, 40 hits in 35 innings. Can't allow more than 1 hit per inning. But other than that, his strikeout rate is good. Strikeout walk ratio is pretty respectable. So I kind of like Roop, man, or Raup. I got to figure out how to actually pronounce his name because I think Raup makes more sense here. Kind of like Tanner Houck, Landon Raup. They rhyme basically, but I don't want Raup to be Houck here because Houck is terrible. So I like Raup here, man. And again, he still has like breaking pitches that are just insane and can really fool hitters. And the Twins, only Bader has ever seen him before, and he's 0 for 1 with a strikeout off him. So you got this young, pretty talented pitcher here who has ridiculous breaking stuff, and the Minnesota Twins lineup has never seen him before. So I think Raup does have a little bit of an edge there. And on the other side, Pablo Lopez, I mean, he is what he is. He's a very good pitcher. 0.94 whip, 2.18 ERA, really good stuff this year. Coming off an 11 strikeout performance. He has a 17-1 strikeout walk ratio over the last 2 starts, allowing 3 earned runs over 11 1/3. That's pretty good. 37-5 strikeout walk ratio on the season is really good. It's been a little bit of a limited season because he was hurt in the middle of April there, and then he came back, and he's been pitching well since. He hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any start this season. Again, 37-5 strikeout walk ratio is a really good rate. More ground balls than fly balls, which is also really, really good. His fly ball rate is low. That's also good. He's flying low. Doesn't allow a lot of home runs, so that's good. 26 hits allowed in 33 innings is very good as well. More than 1 strikeout per inning, less than 1 hit per inning. Everything about his numbers looks good. And then against San Francisco, not a huge sample size. Only 5 of their guys have seen him before, but they're 6 for 53 off him lifetime with only 2 doubles, no other extra base hits, and 23 strikeouts and no walks. Absolutely insane. Pablo Lopez, the guys that he's seen on San Francisco, he has wasted these San Francisco hitters, man. And I mean, it's one of those sample sizes, the decent size sample, and you usually don't see numbers that are this insane. He's striking out like almost half of the guys, he faces in this lineup, or at least half of the at-bats that they have against them. They strike out almost. A 113 average allowed overall, 264 OPS. Unbelievably low numbers there. So I do like Minnesota as well because Lopez has such dominant numbers there. Minnesota, 59% of tickets, 81% of the cash. The money line down from -160, -155. So I lean to Minnesota as well in this game. A little bit worried that we see 55% of tickets on the under after a very low-scoring game yesterday, 84% of the cash on the over. But I don't buy that. I'm going to be on the under in this game. Also lean Minnesota, of course. But I think Raup can kind of help keep us in this game as well. And Lopez if he does what he's supposed to do here, that should help as well. San Diego, Colorado. Basically, we had a football score yesterday with San Diego winning the game 21-0. So totally embarrassing performance from the Rockies. So you might think, well, that means that the Rockies are going to bounce back this time, right? Because they're embarrassed. They got, adjustments to make. Yeah, that's not really how it works in baseball, man. A lot of it is matchup dependent. Colorado is by far the worst team in baseball this year. It's unbelievable how bad this Rockies team is. They can't hit. They can't pitch. I mean, there's nothing there. And this has been an unbelievably embarrassing series. So, yeah, of course, they're going to try to win. But, I mean, look at these numbers they put up recently. They've allowed 8, 10, 11, 13, and 21 runs. So, I mean, are they going to allow more than 21 this time? That number keeps going up in their last 5 games. In this series alone, they've been outscored, 34-9 in this series. And the first game was actually fairly close, 13-9, which I mentioned I like the over in that game, and that happened. San Diego went basically over by double by themselves in the last game. This is just insane. And the Rockies, it looks like their GM is still backing their manager there, Black. So I don't even get it, man. Maybe he should be fired, but I mean, there's only so much you could do with this severe lack of talent here. And I'm just not sure that the Rockies are going to be able to bounce back, man. Blaylock had a terrible start yesterday. Rockies had to burn a bunch of their relievers again yesterday, where San Diego did not. Nick Pavetta's pitching for San Diego, 0.94 whip, 2.01 ERA. Former Red Sox pitcher. He's pitching really well this year with more than one strikeout per inning, way fewer than one hit per inning. Really good numbers here, although I'm a little bit worried that he has a pretty high fly ball rate. And at Coors Field, that's not good, obviously, because balls can fly out of this yard. So you don't want to have a guy with a high fly ball rate pitching in Coors Field, man. And Colorado did just see him. And yes, he did completely dominate them back on April 11th. That was at San Diego, which is a much more pitcher-friendly park. It might not be as easy a time for Pivetta in this one, and including that start. His numbers against Colorado aren't that good in 33 at-bats. A 13-1 strikeout walk ratio is definitely good, but 273 average, 749 OPS, those are okay numbers. So, I mean, we'll see what Pivetta can do in this game. Of course, Marquez, way worse pitcher for the Rockies, 9.9 ERA, 1.97 whip. Yeah, I mean, it's all bad. And San Diego in 118 at bats, they crush them. 331 average, 929 OPS. Nothing to like about any of this. Cronenworth has 6 for 19 with 2 home runs off him. So player prop potential there. Bogart's 4 for 8. Machado 13 for 32, home run and 3 RBIs or 3 walks against 6 RBIs. Hayward 6 for 15 off him with a home run. I mean, it's take your pick basically. You could basically throw darts for player props here, and you're probably going to get some guys that are going to hit on the hits plus runs plus RBIs there. Because Pivetta is a fly ball pitcher, I could see this game still going over. And of course, San Diego could just do it by themselves in this game again, potentially. So I would certainly not play this game under. 71% of tickets, 77% of cash on the over, although it's flipped from 11.5 juice to the over to 11.5 juice to the under. I see no real way to play San Diego here at minus 309 on the money line and extremely public. You can't do that, but probably the way that I would actually go, maybe San Diego over their team total. But if you do that, you're probably playing like over 6.5. So you need them to score that many runs in this game. But I mean, they crush Marquez so hard, and it is Coors Field, that it might actually happen. So I'm not going to play it though. Yankees A's is very difficult to handicap because we don't know who is going to be the Yankees starter in this game. They haven't announced, so they might actually go with a bullpen game or something. But the way their bullpen is played, they torched me yesterday. I mean, this Yankees bullpen has been awful. Their bullpen was bad yesterday again. Both starting pitchers actually did fairly well in that game. And yeah, the bullpen really not doing well for the Yankees right now. So I don't think they really want to have to go into that bullpen again, especially in a very hitter-friendly environment in Sacramento here. And Severino will be pitching for the A's. He's pitching pretty well. 1.21 whip isn't too bad. 3.62 ERA. Pretty good numbers this year. Still, his walk number is too high for my liking. He's not allowing a lot of hits, fewer than 1 hit per inning. That's pretty good. Somewhat low strikeout rate, though, to be honest. His last game, 5 strikeouts to 4 walks. Little bit of a concern there. Allowing 4 runs to Seattle offense that isn't that great. Against the Yankees, they actually only have 10 at-bats off him, which is surprising, but Severino has been in the National League for a while, so maybe that's why. 200 average against them, and Goldschmidt has a home run off him because he was in the National League for a while, so 773 OPS. So I don't know what we could really take away from that very small sample size there from Severino, but it's possible the A's do have a little bit of the upper hand there, and you're going to get them at an underdog price here probably because the Yankees tend to be overvalued, even though I thought they were the right side yesterday. But it might make sense to look towards the A's as the underdog here with the more potentially the more capable pitcher on the mound. Baltimore and Anaheim here. I mentioned yesterday, I was like, there's no way Baltimore should be a road favorite here with Gibson on the mound. And Gibson sucks, but I'm going to change my tune in this one, and I'm actually going to say, yes, we should actually lay the price with Baltimore in this game. And I think the money is coming in agreement with me on this one. If I can find that game, where is it? They're up from minus 130 to minus 139, 57% of tickets, 84% of the cash coming in of Baltimore. So some strong market indicators look like the money's coming in of Baltimore. And I agree with it. I mean, this is not Kyle Gibson on the mound here. This Baltimore, it might help them quite a bit to get Zach Eflin back here because their starting pitching is terrible, and Zach Eflin is not terrible. He's been out with a lat injury, and you know I say when these veteran starting pitchers come back from injury, they're usually ready to go, and the public doesn't really want them. I mean, the public is going to look at this and think, wait a minute. Like, I'm getting an underdog price on the Angels here, and the Orioles record is even worse than the Angels. The Orioles record is so bad that, like, how could you possibly lay a price like this on Baltimore? And I was saying that yesterday because Kyle Gibson sucks. And I was right about that. And yeah, I'm a little bit worried that the Orioles are terrible on the road at 6-15, but I think they're going to get this game, man, because as I was about to say, you get a veteran pitcher coming back from an injury like this, they're only going to start if they're definitely ready to go. Like, the team's not going to put him out there unless he's ready to go. And these guys, they want to get back out there, man. They're major league starters. They want to prove they can do it. They're going to be excited to get back out there. So I think Eflin is going to be excited. He was pitching well before he got injured, man. 3 ERA, 0.83 whip in three starts. He didn't allow more than 3 earned runs in any start. 8-1 strikeout walk ratio. So the strikeout rate wasn't high. I wish that was a little bit higher, but didn't allow many hits and only allowed 1 walk over that entire span of 18 innings. So he was definitely not wild. So I like all that. And then if we type in the URL here, because when a pitcher has been off for a while, for some reason ESPN takes away the batter versus pitcher tab, which is stupid. But against Anaheim, 78 at bats. Eflin has done quite well against them. 18 strikeouts and only 1 walk, 218 average, 587 OPS. So Eflin has really good numbers against Anaheim. I mean, their offense is really not that good right now either. So I like Eflin in this game much, much better than Kyle Gibson. Huge, huge upgrade. And Anaheim is going to be taking a big step up in class trying to face Eflin here. Then the teams used a similar amount of their bullpen staff yesterday. Anaheim has a terrible bullpen, though. Their bullpen has been awful. Their bullpen ERA recently has been terrible. I mean, Baltimore's not necessarily good, but Anaheim, I think they have the lesser of the starting pitching matchup. I think their bullpen is bad. And offensively, I mean, neither team has really been that good. So it's kind of like pick your poison there. Although Baltimore, I mean, Anaheim's without Trout now. I think Baltimore has the more talented hitters. They just really haven't gotten it going yet. And of course, the odds makers are still telling you, even though Baltimore's on the road, they're actually the better team, and they're the better team in this matchup. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to agree with it. And then on Anaheim's side, I was going to make some joke about Eflin, kind of like Effington, like Ben Folds' song Effington, where all the lyrics are effing this, effing that. Yeah, I love that song, man. It might be his best song. It's definitely his most hilarious song, but he got the town wrong because it was actually Effingham or Effingham, Illinois. But I think Effington just sounded better as well. So it sounds better when you're singing it as well. So hopefully we're not Eflin when we're all done here. Hopefully he pitches well. Tyler Anderson is pitching for Anaheim, and yes, he's been really good this year. 2.68 ERA, 1.0 for a whip, but I just don't trust Anderson, man. I've been telling you, I think we got to get some regression on him because look at his career stats. 4.21 ERA, 1.27 whip, and he's not getting any younger. He's 35 now, so I don't see where this outlier is coming from here. In his first season, 2 seasons ago with Anaheim, his ERA was in the 5s over the course of most of the season, and 1.49 whip. So I just don't think Anderson is trustworthy to keep this up. I think he's going to have some regression based on his career stats, even though, last year he somehow did have one of his best seasons of his career. But his whip was still like 1.3. So I just think Anderson is a bit of a mirage here, man. And he's faced a lot of weak offenses here. I mean, the strongest offense that he faced was the Giants. And he did pretty well against them, but still, he has not really faced a very tough offense this year. Not that Baltimore's is. I mean, they're certainly not. But I think that he's in line for some regression. He has fewer than 1 strikeout per inning. And he's not allowing a whole lot of hits. Only 27 hits and 40 1/3. That's pretty good. 15 walks, maybe a little bit high, but 76 fly balls. I mean, that does not look good. He's allowing too many fly balls, 7 home runs. So he is definitely capable of falling victim to the long ball, man. So that's not good. So again, I think we're going to see some regression on him. Baltimore has hit him okay in 46 at bats, 261 average, 842 OPS. So Eflin has dominant numbers in this matchup, whereas Anderson's numbers, not even close to as dominant, a very high OPS. O'Neill, former Red Sox player, Mr. Opening Day, 3 for 5 with 2 home runs off of Anderson, and Henderson, not Anderson. Henderson is 3 for 4 off him with a home run. So some player prop ideas there as well. And that's, I have one more baseball play. Let's keep going here. Let's finish this off here. Dodgers in Arizona. Gonsolin and Gallen, the 2 G's going, man. They're both G's. Gonsolin came back for the Dodgers. He's been pitching decently, 1.09 whip, 4.09 ERA, 17-2 strikeout walk ratio, quite good, very high strikeout rate. But I would dial it back a little bit on Gonsolin here because both of his starts were against Miami. So he hasn't faced any other team yet besides Miami. So we still don't quite know what we're going to get out of this guy yet. And against Arizona, though, he has been really good in 56 at bats, 196 average, 571 OPS. So Gonsolin, his strikeout rate is really, really high. So even though, it was against Miami, that's still pretty impressive. And against this pretty tough D-backs lineup, he's actually been really good against them. So I think we might be in line for another good start from Gonsolin here. Gallen, on the other hand, not pitching that well this year. 1.21 whip is pretty mediocre. 4.37 ERA, very mediocre. Against the Dodgers, pretty mediocre stats against them as well. And 170 at bats, 47-20 strikeout walk ratio is not that impressive. That's too many walks. 241 average and 745 OPS. So the average isn't bad, but the OPS is a little bit high. Also has allowed 7 home runs against them. So maybe some player prop potential in there as well. Though the guys that have hit the most home runs off him just have a lot of at-bats off him, and their average isn't that good. Freeman, 5 for 23 with 2 home runs. Conforto, 5 for 22 with a home run. Betts, 5 for 23 with a home run. Another guy the Red Sox should never have gotten rid of. So I don't know about the player props here. Will Smith, 6 for 21 off him when he's not out there punching Chris Rock in the face. His numbers are decent against Gallen, but I think Gonsolin might actually have the upper hand in that matchup. And I don't trust Arizona's bullpen either. I trust the Dodgers bullpen a little bit more. So I actually think the Dodgers might be the right lean, and you're actually getting a cheaper price on the Dodgers this time, although it looks like they're a very public road underdog. So I really don't want any part of a public road underdog like that. 76% of tickets and only 60% of the cash. Arizona up a little bit from -105 to -108. And we know the books are not just giving money away. So the books are pretty much indicating they think Arizona is probably going to win this game, as they would not be like almost a small favorite like this if that wasn't the case. But based on that matchup, I can't play Arizona there, man. And then my final play is going to be on another team trying to avoid a sweep, and that is Seattle. I'm going to go with the -1 run line here. You can find it around -138 to try to knock this price down, because Seattle, they're way too expensive. You're up from -170 to -179. 91% of tickets, only 70% of the cash. So I am worried about that. So again, I'm going kind of against the market here, but I think I kind of have to do this. I kind of like the starting pitching matchup, and Seattle has lost both games in the series, both by exactly a score of 6-3. Seattle used a little bit more of their bullpen yesterday, so I'm a little bit worried about that, but I'm going full game because when you play a run line like this, you kind of have to go full game, obviously. I mean, you could go minus a half run in the first 5, but because they're trying to avoid the sweep, I kind of like this as well. I mean, Seattle was on fire before they lost these couple of games. I liked Toronto actually in both of the previous games, and in this game, I do not. So maybe I'll get all 3 games right, even though I didn't bet on either of these. I bet on the under in one of them and lost, so that's great. I didn't bet on the side in either of them, but I think we might actually get a better performance out of Seattle here. Toronto does have a divisional game against divisional series against Tampa up next. So I don't know if they're really going to be looking ahead to that, but they're having to leave the West Coast, so it's kind of getaway day for them. So they might not totally pay attention to Seattle here. I think Seattle's going to be the more motivated team to try to win this game, and Toronto's got Urania pitching, and I don't know what we're going to get out of this guy, man. Obviously, his stats this season are terrible. 1.77 whip, 8.59 ERA. He was actually on the Mets, and he had one really bad performance in 3 innings against Washington. That game where they got obliterated 19-5, and they actually won the game, and I think he actually got a save. How ridiculous is that you get a save just because you pitched the last 3 innings of the game? You get absolutely lit up for 5 runs in 3 innings, and because your team is so far ahead, you get a save anyway. Unbelievable. It's the stupidest way to get a save. That shouldn't even count as a save. The rules are so stupid. He wasn't saving anything. He wasn't even saving face. And then he got traded to Toronto, and he didn't have a good start for. I think this was a start, and he didn't do well for against Anaheim either. 4 1/3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. Nothing impressive about this man. And against Seattle, his numbers are awful. In 37 at bats, 405 average allowed and 909 OPS. So this guy is definitely a liability out there on the mound. Jorge Polanco is 7 for 10 off him lifetime. So again, if you want to look for player props, there you go with that one. Hits plus runs plus RBIs over. Meanwhile, Bryce Miller, we could trust him way more, I think. And his ERA, whip this year, both of them are not good. I understand. 1.47 whip is actually horrific. He's putting more than he's putting about 1.5 base runners on per inning. That's terrible. And still kind of escaping with a 4.15 ERA. However, if you look at his splits, basically all the damage against him has been on the road. He has severe home road splits, and guess where he is in this game? Yeah, he's at home in the pitcher-friendly confines of Seattle here. So I think he's going to put in a much better game here. On the road, he has a 5.68 ERA and 301 batting average allowed. At home, 2.3 ERA and 185 batting average allowed. So it's like night and day, basically. So, I mean, what else can you do? And by the way, he's not even pitched in a day game yet this year. So his night stats aren't good, I guess. Well, actually, it looks like maybe he has. Why? I don't understand that. Like, why are his night? Oh, no, his night stats are his exact ERA. What am I saying? Yeah, so he hasn't even pitched in a day game yet. So maybe he'll do better in this one because this will be a day game. Or at least, yeah, it will be a day game because it'll be like 1:10 p.m. out there. So, yeah. So maybe he'll do better in the light of day as well, but he does way, way better at home, man. His home road splits are ridiculous. His bad games have all come on the road. At Boston, which is not an easy place to pitch. At San Francisco, he allowed 4 earned runs in those. And then at the A's, I mean, come on. In his last start, I mean, we know that's a very hitter-friendly park at Sacramento there. So I think he's going to bounce back from that. He's back at home, coming off a really, really hideous start. Pitched okay in the previous start, although he walked 5 guys, which is a little bit concerning. He's got to get his walk number down, man. His fly ball rate is way too high, but in Seattle, it might not be as much of a concern because it's such a deep ballpark. But 32-19 strikeout walk ratio, yeah, I understand that's really, really bad. It's way too many walks. His strikeout rate is fine. It's almost 1 per inning, fewer than 1 hit per inning. All of that is fine, but I think he's going to turn it around, man, because look at his career numbers. I mean, he has not been anywhere near this wild. Career 1.09 whip and 3.59 ERA. Being at home, I think he's going to bounce back. He's going to do better here. And against the Toronto lineup, they only have 19 at-bats off him and a 211 average against him and 654 OPS. So I think Miller has the upper hand here. I think Seattle's going to bounce back here. We'll take Seattle, even though it is a public play. It kind of looks like a pretty dumb square play there, but I like it. And then the ESPN Sunday night game is Philadelphia and Cleveland. Zach Wheeler against Luis Ortiz. And of course, on the surface, Zach Wheeler has the better stats. He is the better pitcher, a 3.35 ERA, 0.94 whip. He's been pitching really, really well this season. Last 4 starts, he's allowed exactly 2 earned runs in every start. He's gone at least 6 innings in every one of them. He has a ridiculous 66-9 strikeout walk ratio in 51 innings, only 39 hits allowed. So all of that, very, very good numbers. Kind of a high fly ball rate, so a little bit worrisome there. But he's been very good overall. But against Cleveland, I know it's a small sample size, 17 at-bats. He has more walks than strikeouts, 7 walks, 5 strikeouts, although all 7 walks are Carlos Santana, who's been around for forever, but that's still pretty ridiculous. And, not the guitarist Carlos Santana either. Although this Carlos Santana makes music with his bat. 294 average allowed to Cleveland from Zach Wheeler and 794 OPS. So his numbers, not exactly that good against Cleveland. And Luis Ortiz for Cleveland, his numbers are terrible this year. 5.3 ERA, 1.42 whip. So there's no doubt he's the worst of the 2 starting pitchers. I mean, he's walking way too many guys. 40-19 strikeout walk ratio is not that impressive. Although his fly ball rate's a little bit lower, which isn't bad. Fewer than 1 hit per inning isn't that bad either. His walk numbers are just terrible. So the walks are really his huge problem here. But up against Philly, even though they have a good lineup in 42 at-bats, they're only 8 for 42 off him. He's actually held to a 190 average and 570 OPS, although a 6-4 strikeout walk ratio is not good. But the matchup numbers, Ortiz actually has the better of the matchup numbers. So I actually could see maybe Philadelphia being overvalued here because of that. Because everybody knows Zach Wheeler, he's a good pitcher. He's got the better numbers. Everybody likes Philadelphia because they're the better team. But I think the matchup numbers at least kind of make the starting pitching matchup a little bit of a wash here. And then if you get to the bullpens, I actually kind of think Philadelphia they have the worst of the 2 bullpens here. Their bullpen is really not that good. Philadelphia does certainly have the better bats, though. So I'm not going to play the game. Kind of a wash here. 94% of tickets and only 82% of the cash on Philly. So they are very, very public. So you're getting Cleveland at a big underdog price here. If you want to come in and play Cleveland, maybe take them run line plus 1.5 runs. I wouldn't mind that. Something to that effect. I think they might be able to actually surprise and maybe win that game. So that's going to do it for me, man. My plays today going with the market and against the market in some of these. We're going to be on the Thunder minus the points in NBA, Dallas Stars money line in hockey, and in MLB, we got Milwaukee underdog money line price for the Brewers in the first 5 innings only. Texas Rangers money line full game. San Francisco, Minnesota under the total 8.5. Baltimore money line minus 140, and Seattle -1 on the run line, somewhere in the minus 138 department. That's going to do it. Tower Gang Toad on Twitter. You can find me there posting my ridiculous Yay ukulele cover, which is not good at all. And it's going to be one of my most viral tweets ever, which I hate. And then Tower Gang Tower Gang, what is it? TowerGangPod.com. Is that what it is for the Linktree? And Patreon.com/Tower Gang. Find all the Tower Gang stuff, man. And come join us at Bohemian Grove. The tickets are selling. I think they're about, I don't know how many are left. I think maybe half of them, maybe less are left now. So you got to get on that, man. And there's going to be a rush later as well, because it's not for another a little bit over a month right now, but you don't wait. Get your tickets, make your plans. Come see us at Bro Grove in Central Florida, Leesburg, Florida. We're taking the city over, man. We're going to run the city. It's going to be the best city in the country at some point soon. So let's do all that. Let's have a good day today. Happy Mother's Day, man. Once again, I love moms. So, and they kind of love me too. So let's have a good one today. Let's get some wins. And get some MILFs as well. And peace out, man.